right, so let me turn down my TV so I'm not echoing here. I'm running two phones. We got the Footprint account, we got the Pea.AI account. We're gonna get this going. So everybody, I appreciate you guys coming into this space today. We're gonna. This is exciting, not just for me, but for Footprint as a whole, because today we're actually introducing our new product called P.AI. And what is P.AI? Well, P is new customizable GPT, crypto investment customizable GPT, where you can plug in different knowledge bases, different materials to get a customizable GPT to get more niche on, let's say, investing, help you summarize daily news, help you summarize white papers, all this sort of stuff. Can be done with your own GPT, and you can train it to follow your specific niche and get you responses from your prompts that specify those specific needs. So PIA is really cool. Let me share my socials here down at the bottom for you guys so you can join. And then with that being said, let's get started here. Thank you very much for joining, by the way, Shaxi and Zam and Miss Snowy. Appreciate you guys. So right now, I'll pass it over to Shaxi. I'll just hear a little bit of an introduction about what you're doing in the space and how you got to this point.
Yeah, hey everybody, great to meet y'all. My name is Shaq. Um, yeah, I guess just a bit about myself and sort of what I'm up to. Um, Recently just actually left my job at SpaceX and starting up a new position here as head of growth for Layer N. What we're sort of building over at Layer N is a hyper performant Layer 2 blockchain, primarily designed to scale financial applications on Ethereum. I've sort of held various roles in the past in the tech industry at companies like Cisco, PayPal Crypto, Dfinity, SoFi, and more. In college, I co-founded a SaaS cloud-based ecosystem for audio projects. But right now, super excited to join on to the team of Layer N. Something that's really special about us is, we have sort of under 50 millisecond time to finality, which is unmatched by any other L2. The next closest being Say, which is an L1 at 380 milliseconds time to finality. The reason why that's so cool is that because that essentially sort of rivals the performance of centralized exchanges. So now we can sort of go to banks and ask them to onboard as liquidity providers, which is super cool. But look forward to sharing more about our work maybe later on in the call and sort of engaging in some insightful discussions today about AI. Appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah, Shaq, I'm happy to have you here, buddy. You're on one of our footprint spaces before, and you absolutely killed it, so I'm happy to bring you back. Next, I'm going to pass the mic over to Zam. Give us a little bit of introduction and tell us a little bit about Sentiment AI.
Yeah, hey guys, thanks for having me and us. Basically, I'm the founder and main dev behind Sentiment AI. What we're doing is an on-demand analytical tool suite that goes into three different analytical directions. Basically, we have social sentiment analysis over Telegram, Twitter, and other social medias of projects. For now, we're focusing only on Web3 assets, but going to be branching out to other types of financial assets pretty soon, so like stocks and other stuff. Then we have chart technical analysis, so where for now somebody inputs a contract address, we plot a chart for them over time, the candlestick chart, plot some indicators, and do some AI-based technical analysis. And then we have another direction, which is on-chain data. So pretty much there's a few different tools in there, but it's all information that you can get from on-chain data for a certain token. So that's how we're looking right now, and planning to scale out this product into other products, so it becomes sort of a B2B2C company where our tech is integrated as an on-demand button in like centralized exchanges and other platforms similar to that. So that's how we're looking now, and I'll say a bit more about some other new things that we're developing, which are fully native to us, and they can really shake up the world of crypto in a few months or even weeks. So yeah, very glad to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you. Sorry, excuse me. Happy to have you as well, Zam. It's nice to have another founder in the space to discuss AI as well. I'm really excited to hear what you have to say. Next, I'm going to pass it over to our final speaker today, Miss Snowy. Thanks for joining the space today. Why don't you give us a little introduction about yourself?
Well, yeah, well, I didn't expect it because I'm actually here to support Zam, and I'm still working. So, but hey, I'm a woman. I can do two things, right? Anyway, yeah, I'm Miss Snowy. I support Zam wherever I can, but mostly community-wise. So engage with the community, answer questions, try to motivate them as well. But what you see nowadays, at least, is that community rather has the team working than themselves. But we're there, we're trying, we're fighting, and well, that's it. That's me.
Ayo, I love it. And Miss Snowy, it's nice to see you around in the crypto scene. It seems like you got your toes dipped in a little bit of everything, which is great to see. So, I'm happy to have you here. And let's dive right into the questions, you guys. So, the first question of the day today is, um, what makes uh, sorry, I totally messed up my first question. My first question is actually going to be: there's been a recent influx of new AI products hitting the market in Web3. What are some differentiators that make other products stand out from the rest? So essentially, I'm asking you is what products do you see that really separates the niches in the different industries in AI, especially in Web3 right now? If you want to put up your hand like this, I'll call on you, and then we can just continue the conversation smoothly. Zam.
Yeah. So on this, it's a very interesting topic because AI has definitely been the meta for the past month or two now, maybe even a bit more. Now, probably the last month or two, in DeFi, and that's good. I'm a big proponent of AI. I myself have another AI company in real life that I'm working on, which is a customer support software based on AI, which is also great. And I'm just a huge fan of artificial intelligence and its implementation in all parts of human life, so to say, and blockchain being, well, for now, a small part in most people's lives. I do believe in the power of decentralization. I do believe in the power that the blockchain can bring over time. And so I definitely think that the interception of AI and the blockchain is something to look out for. And to answer your question on the actual differentiation of products to make sure that something stands out among the rest, I think the answer here is rather counterintuitive. I think that the more products, even that don't stand out, the better, because it really does help adoption in general, both of AI and of the blockchain. So the more products, the merrier. Even if there are products doing the same thing, as we can see, there clearly are some products doing the same thing. Unfortunately, some of them are complete scams, which is definitely unfortunate. But still, if there's a real product and people are rolling it out from two different aspects that are competing, that's good for everybody. So yeah, I think, but to make a product actually stand out, all you need is a little bit of fantasy, and you can make anything shine.
Amen. It's interesting that you bring this up because when I'm on the footprint account, I'm always like, I love working with other data providers because I'm a big believer in spreading the wealth, especially even working with other data providers, just because it's so important to see what they consider their metrics for, say, daily active users or transactions, right? Because everything is calculated a little bit differently. So it's always great to see these different products and these different analytics to see kind of what they're working with, and work together in case there's any data that falls through the cracks, so I can supplement that as well. So I'm all about working together with their competitors and spreading the wealth, like I said. So it's great that you bring that up, Zam. Next, I'm passing it over to Shaq.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of synergies between both of these spaces, as Sam's rightly pointed out. Both of them have been a hot topic for not only, I mean, months and years to some degree, right? And so I think some potential areas of synergy that I might have identified is there's this concept of federated learning that's come up, right? Decentralized sort of AI training that's trustless, since training requires significant computational resources and data. Web3 can maybe perhaps offer a sort of decentralized infrastructure for even training, right? Maybe tapping into idle resources across networks. You also have, data labeling is a huge issue in the space right now. So decentralized data labeling, just annotating large data sets is essential for AI training. And as such, crowdsourcing and maybe decentralizing workers who can collaborate on these labeling tasks with transparency and trust through Web3 infra, is super critical, and also like a very, very big application. You also have as a service AI, right? So decentralized AI platforms, that enable developers and users to access like AI capabilities seamlessly. If that's NLP, CV, or even recommendation systems, is sort of as a service can be democratized through Web3. You have content moderation, decentralized predictive markets, right, et cetera, et cetera. Shout out also my friend Mike from the Talus Foundation. He's building some super, super cool infrastructure, that essentially merges AI with blockchain to create a network of AI smart agents, right? And so Talos is essentially a versatile network of sort of applications that can be operated by co-owned or individually owned smart agents. So developers can essentially create protocols that can directly leverage outputs of many AI models or even just one AI model and have them operate in the protocol, in synergy. So he's building some super cool stuff, and there's really a lot of potential applications of leveraging fundamental Web3 infra to enhance and better sort of the process of training AI for sure.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see how the training evolves. I think AI and crypto really go together like PB and J. A little bit of peanut butter and jam. It's just meant to be. So it makes it really excited to see kind of how it evolves in the next coming year, especially, and then even more so in the coming years. So my third question, you guys, is and this is great transition here is what direction do you see AI and Web3 going? And how does AI exactly complement Web3? I know Shaq, you touched on it a little bit about decentralization, stuff like that. But if you guys want to expand a little bit more, the question is open. And one more time is what direction do you see AI and Web3 going? And how does AI complement Web3? Yeah, Shaq, go for it, and then we'll do Zam.
100%. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of compliments, as I mentioned, like sort of between both of these spaces. Um, but I think primarily, there's not only many existing projects in the space. I think some noteworthy ones that I just took down on my notes before our call is Singularity Net, Ocean Protocol, Fetch AI, Numer AI, and BitTensor. And so all of these are essentially just looking to monetize AI models, democratize access to AI, and in some form or fashion, right? Leverage sort of data analysis to provide sort of market predictions. Shout out Pea.AI, obviously too, right? I mean, and so there's definitely a lot of sort of innovation happening in the sector, and so I think where we sort of see this going is potentially sort of more moderated training and more trustless training. The more and more we sort of leverage Web3 infra in the space. AI as a whole, I think there's a significantly different track that sort of just AI is headed. With more and more sort of companies investing billions and billions of dollars into sort of research in the space. It's a super super hot topic, and it almost seems like you slap AI sort of on a slide, right? Like VCs are willing to triple the money they give you right now, but there is, I think, some genuinely sort of valuable sort of synergies in the space, and I think some of those maybe what I mentioned earlier on. I think I might have honestly answered this question in my earlier response, kind of, but yeah, I mean, that's just some thoughts there.
Yeah, that's no problem, Shaq. Still a good answer nonetheless. Next, we'll pass it right over to Zam.
Yeah, so I just really love the idea of democratization of AI in general. I've ever since I started using all these models that are coming out recently, especially the open source ones, I've really just fallen in love with what they are, and I really believe that again, this intersection that I mentioned of blockchain and AI can really bring this out to more and more people. Like the idea of having uh, a server that's hosted in a decentralized way that hosts an open source language model that everybody has access to is pretty cool. So unlike fucking ChatGPT, which obviously isn't democratized or open, we have a open source models that are available to everybody, available to fine tune, available to use, available to well, interact with in any way people see fit. So I do believe it's a beautiful thing, and I think that the blockchain is exactly what can make these AI models really, be free for everybody, so to say. I think it's the best path going forward. It's a difficult path. It's very technically and technologically complex, and I don't even know if we as a species have enough brain power to execute upon it. But let's hope we do, and very excited to be playing at least some part in this revolution.
You know, Zam, I'm with you on that. What you just said, with the decentralization of AI, it aligns completely with our goals over here at P. And I think my devs over here would absolutely 100% agree with you about how technically and how much brain power you got to use to make this possible, man. It is absolutely crazy. So I'm sure they'll love to hear you giving them a little bit of compassion there. Pass it next over to Shaq.
Yeah, some great points there actually. I think maybe like also like discussing some potential use cases of sort of the intersection of these technologies, right? I think primarily I see a lot of use cases, and these are sort of more traditionally I think Web 2 sort of use cases, but supply chain management, right? I mean, I think you've already seen sort of a lot of coming from SpaceX. I mean, we really prioritize transparency, sort of in all of our contracts and especially like in our launch side of things, right? Like everything needs to be meticulously checked. Matter of fact, we actually send people out, right? Like literally SpaceX employees out, contract them out to our manufacturers just to make them actually run more operationally efficiently, just to match sort of our rate of consumption. So like basically, if you sort of create a supply chain system in Web 3, right, where you have complete transparency as to every single step of the process, where everything is sourced, et cetera, et cetera. AI can actually sort of not only analyze supply chain data automatically to optimize processes, detect fraud, and predict demand, but can also sort of tie in with this Web 3 infra. And there are already existing solutions out there that do this. Secondly, maybe trustless sort of um, a consensus on maybe patient healthcare records, right? So AI algorithms can perhaps analyze medical data to identify patterns, predict diseases, and assist in sort of maybe diagnosis and treatments, while blockchain can securely store that data, right? Fundamentally. And so these are maybe more use cases where both of these are synergistically working rather than one and the same infra, right? And I think also, hand in hand with even P, right? Financial services. So blockchain can facilitate and secure and transparent transactions, right? While sort of AI can enhance fraud detection and risk assessment, which I'm pretty sure P does actually, just by taking a look at y'all's stuff earlier, and maybe even personalized financial recommendations user by user. And finally, maybe even also digital identity. There's a ton of sort of work being done in the space with decentralized ID, with sort of maybe cross chain ID. Right, that's another project I'm working on actually, and so blockchain can provide sort of maybe a decentralized and sort of verifiable digital identity, while AI can also analyze user behavior and biometric data, maybe for identity verification and fraud prevention. And so I think maybe these are some use cases where you have sort of individual technology coming together, rather than the inherent synergy of both of these technologies. But nonetheless, I do think that they're valuable use cases to explore, and be mindful of, just in the upcoming future. But definitely bullish on all of those.
Yeah, and Shaq, talking, you kind of gave me a good reminder, a little bit of a promotion. Gonna hit a little self shill here with the P, but when it comes to our AI, like the P, it's really interesting because you can actually, even though it feeds footprints data sources, you can actually add, say, sources from Dune. You can add sources from DeFi Llama. It's crazy. So you're actually not just limited to the data from Footprint. You can add as many data sources as possible to get your investment and your financial kind of insights as tuned in as you want, which is super exciting. Anyways, that's enough of uh, shilling a little bit. I'm going to do a bit of a room reset. If you guys are enjoying the conversation, I would love it if you could leave a comment, give us a retweet, get your friends in here. We got a couple more questions left. And then we're going to be passing it over to a Q&A. So if there's any questions that you guys have for either Shaq, Zam at Sentiment, or me, save it to the end, and then we'll get them answered. So like I said, just give us a like, give us a retweet, and get your friends in here. So moving on to the fourth question today is, do you believe that it's inevitable that all Web3 dApps will release some form of AI for a community to use? I've been seeing this a ton with gaming, a lot of gameplay help through AI services. It's especially in Web3 games, it's going crazy. But yeah, with you guys, do you believe that AI is going to be at least a part of to a feature to interact for protocols to give to the community to interact with? Zam.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say, yes, and it may not even come from the project side itself. It may even come from external tools like Sensman AI, which can give you analytical data and AI-based reports and, again, analytics on different projects, whatever projects they may be. So yes, 100%. I believe that every project will have some sort of AI based opportunity for their users to interact with, even if it doesn't come from the project itself. But I believe that most competent leaders in this space will at least set up some sort of like customer support service again for the project, so people can just more easily navigate throughout their offerings. And yeah, I believe that that's going to come very, very soon.
100% agreed there, Zam. Shaq, anything you'd like to add?
No, honestly, I mean, I think that's a great point. I mean, I think it's sort of inevitable, right? That like even in Web two, I mean, as I was mentioning, I actually was watching like the 60 Minutes like documentary that they did on AI and whatnot, and Sundar Pichai is just like, dude, if you don't have AI, like in the next couple months, you're not a company anymore, right? Like literally, right? Like it's just due to the numerous benefits that like it brings. And so it's kind of, I do think it's honestly inevitable, right? Because if people around you are scaling it like maybe 3 or 4 or even 10x, right, the speed that you are, by leveraging that technology and like understanding sort of maybe even where market trends are going, right? I think it's like right now what people don't realize about like all these LLMs is like you get what you put in, right? So like prompt engineering is super key, right? And a lot of people don't understand like the possibilities of this technology like yet, because like they're not prompt engineering well enough. And like obviously like it's a very like Web 2 sort of perspective on like LLMs, right? This is like, oh, like prompt engineer your way to success, right, or whatever. But like I think it's honestly inevitable just due to the massive benefits it brings. And the only limitation that we have right now in scaling sort of the technology is like, how do we train it, where do we get the data, right, and what is the fundamental infrastructure for training. And so if you solve all those three problems, even as like a Web 2 company, you're gonna succeed with implementing the technology. And with Web3, almost like I think the perspective almost shifts in like, okay, like now let's achieve a trustless sort of training system. Now let's achieve like instead of efficiency, right, we're sort of more prioritizing, hey, like trustless consensus, and to some degree efficiency as well, with like concepts like federated learning, right? Like you have more, literally like more people that are able to train and like and dedicate computational resources to training. And you also have this trustless, sort of data sources, or not data sources, but like training sources, right? And so, um, I think it's honestly inevitable with sort of where we're headed right now, just due to the fact of like the numerous benefits it brings, and also like the numerous benefits that people don't understand it brings yet.
100%. I 100% agree. And, this actually got me on a new question that's not on the list here, but maybe this is a good time to discuss for everybody here listening. Maybe you guys can maybe give some tips and tricks on how to engineer your prompt properly so you can really, because, there's a huge difference between good AI users, people that maximize the efficiency of AI, and people that are just using it to have some fun with. And, you can really tell the difference between a well-engineered prompt and someone that's just using AI quickly. So maybe you guys can spill some tips and tricks for engineering some prompts.
I mean, not really any tips and tricks, to be honest, but I mean, just I've been using it to learn a ton about the space right now. I mean, it's not only a teacher, it's not only sort of an analysis tool, it's like literally everything. And I think that that's like it's literally only limited by sort of your use case and sort of what you sort of can imagine it to do. I think right now, I think actually, Alex, you and I were talking earlier, right? Like about like sort of the web scraping thing. If you sort of leverage sort of LLMs to and what I do actually like often is like scrape websites and then sort of automatically upload like the content from the websites into sort of like GPT or something in order to, maybe like quasi train it into a custom agent, right? Essentially. Um, and so I think like when you have that capability and when you have like sort of LLMs that are trained on sort of custom data that you like need to like sort of ask questions about or like need for it to be trained on. I think right now what AI is limited in primarily is like hallucination, right? And so I think if you can sort of remove that by providing it more context and providing it more data in your prompts and sort of in the way that you ask questions, you get significantly better results. The other thing I've been using, and like maybe this is like I think maybe many people already know this, but like in order to maybe just explain concepts simply, like hey, explain it to me like I'm 11, like use simple analogies, etc., etc. But just a couple thoughts there.
Oh, thanks, Shaq. Absolutely great thoughts there. And I think leveraging the website scraping, which is something that I definitely need to do a little bit more. I'll talk to you about that later, Shaq. But I think that's really great, right? It's really plugging in as much data as possible, as much resources as possible to get you the best response. Is absolutely key. Zam, is there anything you wanted to add?
I mean, I want to say that it is a good point that Shag brought up. I also wanted to talk a bit about RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation. I don't know, Shag, did you mention that or not? Maybe, I don't know, maybe I didn't hear it, but either way, I think it's a very strong concept that anybody building with AI should be utilizing to an extent, which basically what it means is using external data sources for improving and making your prompts more dynamic uh, for any use case. So that's just another very cool thing that anybody that's trying to build applications based around AI should be looking into.
Great, absolutely. All right, you guys, last question of the day. You can keep it a little simple here, but what kind of progression do you think we'll see in AI in the next 2 to 3 years? Do you see government restrictions coming in to limit or slow down the rapid advancements? Zam.
So, considering what I mentioned earlier about the decentralization of AI and using open source models, I believe that even if the government is going to try to, or any government is going to try to restrict usage or restrict implementation, um, well, they just won't be able to because the models will be available to anybody and anybody with a computer will be able to run them. So, even if they do try and do it, I hope that they'll fail to an extent. Of course, I do believe that more like larger models, again, something like ChatGPT, should be controlled to an extent, but not to the extent that it's controlled to now. And in general, I do believe that we're only at the beginning of everything, and that with each day, we're going to be seeing more and more rapid growth. It's going to lead to more and more cool stuff to work on.
And Zam, what kind of advancements or what advancements are you most excited for in the next 2 to 3 years as AI evolves?
I mean, me personally, as a entrepreneur and builder, I'm more so excited about ease of use, cheap, so ease of use, cost effectiveness, and availability of these models, so that they can be again implemented into a lot of different products. So that's what I hope for.
Sweet. I'm passing it next over to Shaq.
Yeah, I mean, before I actually start my response, the second hill actually, I think who's in the space, brought up a great point in the comments for your post, Alex. And so he sort of mentioned, okay, well, we could actually leverage AI in game, like in games to make smarter NPCs. I'm pretty sure actually GTA 6 is rumored to already have this tech integrated. So that's going to be a super exciting use case for sure. I think in the next 2 to 3 years, we can expect to see sort of significant advancements in AI. Obviously, just driven by the exponential growth of computation power. The era of big data with companies like Scale AI, already sort of being a major player in the space, right? Alexander Wang is like the youngest billionaire in the world for a reason, right? So, and so also increasing integration of sort of AI into various industries, right? It's poised to literally transform the way scientific research is done, augmenting our intelligence as humans, and also enabling the analysis of enormous data sets that previously were unaccessible. And so it's I think it's really expected to become sort of a pillar of foreign policy as well, right? With serious amounts of money being invested by governments. I think with regards to maybe specific applications, I think AI. Has a has the potential to have a really big impact on customer experiences, right? So I think it's expected to transform education, right? Transforming educational content. In that 50, 60 minutes interview, actually, there was like an example and like, and there was like this billionaire type in China that was actually mentioning, sort of how much people actually don't realize the Chinese government is pouring into AI research right now, specifically like for ed tech. Like literally, like there's like this solution out there that can detect like how students are feeling in the classroom, right? And so if a student is stressed, right, but doesn't want to say anything, for example, like the AI can auto predict it and can also note down the timestamp of when that student was feeling stressed, and also give that student then tailor made sort of content for maybe what the teacher was covering right then and there, which I thought was pretty cool. So AI is also likely to become a standard tool for diagnostics, right? So potentially increasing the rate of accurate medical diagnosis, right? So if you have sort of a bunch of doctors around the world, and I was actually like speaking with sort of a startup last year that was doing this, like if you have a bunch of like orthopedic surgeons around the world, and they're literally doing this already, right? That can sort of provide insight as to what they would do given a case, right? And you combine all this data together and synthesize it with AI, you essentially now have sort of an AI powered doctor, right? Because we have a significant shortage of sort of doctors in the world, and you now have some sort of a tool, at least rather than nothing, for diagnostics in low resource endemic settings, for example. In the legal field, right? AI could reduce the number of human lawyers by like, literally like 25% or more, I think, according to a study by 2028. In transportation, autonomous vehicles, the list goes on, right? But I mean, I think it's also like it's not without its challenges as well, right? We're seeing rapid advancement in the space, but there's also a ton of risk associated with it, including the potential to displace workers faster than ever before. I mean, you saw like the steam engine sort of take jobs away. You saw sort of other innovations, like take multiple jobs away. But we're going to see AI take jobs away at a rate that's been unprecedented before. It's going to displace like workers quicker than ever before. So people are going to have to upskill and sort of adapt much faster. It's going to stifle competition. It's going to also pose risks to literally national security, right? In some cases, and so there's a growing recognition, I think, for the need for regulatory frameworks, that need to be put in place to address these challenges. Actually, in that 60 Minutes interview, Sundar was like, "Hey, like before we roll out sort of like the next, like versions of Bard that have like capabilities to perform Google searches, as I was mentioning earlier, this concept of web scraping to generate maybe custom agents for your questions." Like Bard could already do that, right? And we're actually months in of like when the research team has figured this out. The reason they haven't released it yet, though, is because Sundar is literally working with like psychologists, right? Like people that are like completely out of the CS field to understand like and the ethical dilemmas and really how to like handle those. And so really, there's like a need for intentional development of AI. In the U.S., there's literally like little to no regulation. I think it's honestly in its early stages with no comprehensive federal, sort of intervention. I think in AI regulation, but I think there's like certain laws like privacy, security, anti-discrimination that maybe touch on certain aspects of like the training side of things, and maybe just certain aspects of AI as a whole. But I think the U.S. government has consciously recognized the need for regulation. I think they've also issued an executive order to sort of advance a coordinated federal government level like wide approach to govern sort of the development of AI. I think there's like a task force they're putting together or something, according to my research. And I think in additional to federal efforts, I think some states have also, taken steps maybe to regulate AI. I think Washington requires government agencies already to follow responsible methods for procuring AI and assessing the impacts of sort of automated decision-making systems that they use in their day-to-day. And I think the EU has also taken steps, towards passing the AI Act, which can increase regulation in proportion to the potential threat to privacy, that it poses. And as I mentioned, China is investing tons and tons of research and sort of developer resources to regulate AI and actually to build AI and also in turn to regulate AI as well. But I think in conclusion, right, like we can obviously expect significant advancements just with regards to the amount of sort of resources being poured into the space in the next 2 to 3 years. But I think accompanying that, we're also going to see a ton of government regulation being put in place just due to the power of this technology.
Holy smoke, Shaq. What a response, man. That was awesome. I really appreciate it. Really well in depth as well. It was great. So, you guys, I'll pass. That was my last question. So, now it's all for the community here. Anybody here listening, if you guys have any questions or if you have anything you want to discuss, feel free to leave a comment or request to speak, and I'll bring you up. I got Syrian up here. Is there anything you wanted to add or is there anything you want to ask any of the speakers?
Well, first of all, I wanted to say thank you all for to the speakers. It has been an interesting insight into what you guys are doing and what your views are, essentially. Um, Second of all, I'm working on how to say I'm working on Dex at the moment, which is integrated with an AI, a secondary AI. It's not our project, but I'm seeing that there is quite a few really cool features coming when it comes to swapping, trading, like setting orders and whatnot through ChatGDP style interfaces. And I'm seeing that the onboarding for crypto specifically in the near future, when once these things are starting to come up, I think that will be an accelerator both in game, for example, transactions, but also in like you just have a chat gdp on your phone. And so I see it at the same time that people automate everything, like from website creation, content creation. All of these things now can be automated, and I see projects doing this, which means that anybody with an idea can create anything already today. So, yeah, keep on going, guys. Thank you for your insights. That was all I had to add.
Okay, Shane. Well, thanks. Thanks for coming up here. Next, I brought up portable detective. Is there anything you wanted to ask or anything you wanted to add to the conversation? Well, maybe I guess not. I'll pass it right next over to Crypto Beast 32. Scotty, how's it going, bud?
Hey, brother. Long time no see. Hopefully things are going well. It looks like this
Going well,
P
man.
PAI is going to be really good. I got a buddy that owns Unite AI. We'll have to make the connection there so that you guys can get on there and do some stuff
Yeah,
on there.
absolutely, bro. Absolutely. I'm down to meet as many connections in the space as possible. Right? Wog me, right? I love to say, everybody eats. So bring over as many potential partnerships as possible. We'd love to, discuss potential synergies. Anyway, Scott, is there anything you want to add? Any questions about AI or anything you want to add to the conversation?
So the big thing, like with AI, I feel anyways, and I just want to confirm with you guys, like blockchain in the end and AI will definitely be big. I'm convinced of that. But do you think there'll be a mainstream model of it where basically the blockchain is working with AI to kind of regulate itself? Do you ever see something like that? I guess that's one question I have.
Jack?
Hey, what's up, man? Good to see you again. Wait, so just to clarify your question, you're saying would AI ever have the potential to regulate itself? Is that the question?
Yeah, like using blockchain so that it has certain, I guess, a way to verify information or do anything by actually backing it with AI. I think it would be interesting to see if that's a way to kind of regulate it in a safe way, but where politics and other crap doesn't get involved in it, like some of the other ones.
Well, I think when you're sort of unleashing, I mean, this is like just like my thoughts, and obviously I'm probably very wrong on this, frankly, right? But I think honestly, like if you sort of unleash sort of AI with the potential to train itself, right, which I think they're already researching and already implementing, that's when stuff starts to become dangerous with like also allowing it to regulate itself as well, right? Because you're essentially not only unleashing it to the entire internet, you're also on top of that also like expecting it to police itself, which often, I think with like the Microsoft Twitter bot, like all that stuff, like couple like years ago, it's like um, becomes very very dangerous very quick. And by dangerous I mean like, oh, like, not like, oh, it's like we have Skynet already, right? It's Terminator 2. No, like not like that, but I think there's like a lot of potential for like more harm than good in that case. And so if you have some overarching rules for what the AI could do, right, that are human defined, that are agreed upon by maybe a central governing body, I think that makes more sense than perhaps allowing it to police itself. But maybe
Well,
if you achieve like,
just the
go for it.
I apologize, Shaq. I don't mean to interrupt you. With blockchain though, you could set the rules. Like that's what I mean. Whoever would be building the blockchain would be setting the rules to begin with. That it couldn't go over certain things, right? But I think it would be an interesting way to regulate it so it could catch, like, if people were, say, like the images where we're worried about in the news and stuff, if some bad event happens and it was kind of put out there by AI, or somebody built it with an AI thing to make it look like a real event and cause kind of panic or uh, people getting upset. I guess there'd be a way to verify that or check that as well.
I
I think
completely
that's it. Yeah.
question. Bad. Okay, so you're saying, is there a way to verify like digital authenticity of like materials created using AI?
Yeah, using AI and blockchain, I think it would be kind of interesting to see something like that actually
Absolutely.
built.
Absolutely, yeah. Like maybe like okay, like this is like pretty naive, like maybe, but like oh, like maybe just assigning like an NFT or something like, or so like some sort of a digital identity, right? Or like a signature saying, hey, this is created by a human, right? And like maybe you could verify that with like more and more advanced models. I think like the very elementary approach to this was like like or thought here is like like even like the GPT checkers that we had back in the day that now are actually inaccurate due to GPT-4, right? For like teachers, like auto detecting plagiarism or like AI plagiarism, right? Type deal. And if you have like an upscaled version of that, okay, like okay, now I can detect mid journey, like okay, and maybe I can maybe reverse engineer the mid journey, like they even have like a game like on GPT now, like where you can like you're trying to guess sort of like the prompt that created like an image or something like that, right? And so if you like maybe can reverse engineer sort of like these pictures back to like maybe what their prompts were, then and also detect whether they were made by AI or not. And that's super cool technology and also very valuable too, like insight, to provide in the very near future. And honestly, even currently, right? Like even with GPT-4, it's like, dude, was this written by a human? Like literally, right? I can like when I'm typing in sort of prompts and I'm like getting responses back, I'm like, I literally would not be able to tell the difference, right, between this or like a human. And so as a result, I think there's definitely like a lot of potential there for that technology to not only be inherently valuable for businesses but also individuals for sure. What are your thoughts there, though? I'm curious as to like what you think, like with regards to like how that could potentially be solved.
And I'm really curious on Zam's thought on this as well. Do you have any thoughts you want to add or anything you you wanted to say?
Okay, now there was a lot of things said just now. What exactly am I giving my thoughts on?
The thoughts on the original question is, what do you think about AI and blockchain and essentially using AI to verify and regulate itself and the information that comes out with?
Yeah, I see. Okay, so I remember back this summer, I believe, Adobe started releasing some sort of law stuff, law related stuff that they are trying to patent a technology where they would do the same thing without the blockchain, obviously, but just controlled by them to sort of protect artists' rights. I think it is a necessary step for sure because, as I believe it was mentioned, digital ambiguity, let's say, of identity is a very concerning topic, especially in the coming years. How will we differentiate the real from the fake? Um, do I believe the blockchain can help in that regard? Yes, and I believe that it will be sort of the same thing as what I mentioned earlier with the democratization of the hosting of open source models, which will be sort of a similar network here that somebody could arrange, which is a network that pretty much proves the validity of one's author. It's pretty much what the blockchain already is. Like, if you have a transaction, you know what wallet it's made from, and you can't change that. It's completely immutable, and you'll know that till the end of time. But sort of enforce that on a deeper level with more complex transactions, so to say, I think is definitely something to think about, and it's definitely something that's somebody should be working on.
Amazing, amazing. All right, Scotty, hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, definitely.
Guys, with that being said here, I'm going to wrap. Oh, sorry, I forgot I brought up Colin, the second hill. How's it going, buddy? Any questions or comments you want to add?
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question. Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yep.
Okay, all right, bro. I was gonna ask, it's PEI is it gonna be just for crypto investments, or is it looking to branch out maybe in the future towards gaming? Because I'm an esports researcher and play education facilitator, and most of the time, what I use AI to do is, and footprint data analytics is, to conduct researches into various ecosystems and gaming related stuff. So I would like to know if PAI is gonna diversify into gaming at some point, or is it just exclusively for crypto investments?
Yeah, so when it comes to like Web3 and gaming, absolutely you'll be able to use a P for your insights this way, especially in regards to, say, summarizing white papers as well. Let's see, there's a new game that's come out, and you know they got like 20 pages of this white paper, just filler, and you want to summarize it, you can use PAI to summarize it. You can also use PAI to summarize the metrics of the game as well, anything on chain. So you can get insights this way. Where it's going to be a little bit more difficult is kind of getting the information on like the off-chain data, like any kind of metrics that you're looking for that might be a little bit more internal. We wouldn't be able to get, but that goes across for pretty much any niche, whether it be NFTs, gaming, or just DeFi in general for the protocol. But regardless, you can actually do you can, with the PAI though, you can say, look at some of the KOLs, or let's say it goes into an esports team. You can use the AI to give you some information about some of these professional players and stuff like that. Just essentially what will do is it'll just give you as much information as possible, like a regular GPT, plus whatever knowledge bases that you add on that you want as well, like say the website, you get a Telegram group, all that sort of stuff. So you can get a more customized answer, like Shaq was saying about getting the correct agents. The more data sources you add for the insights that you want from this game, the better it'll be, right? So as long as you add as much knowledge bases, and you can even add docs as well. As long as you have as much knowledge as possible about the protocol, about the game that you care about, you should be able to do relatively well when getting insights that you want about the game. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I did, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I just joined the Telegram channel. It's kind of lovely. I already feel welcome. So I'm looking forward to what PAI has in store. So thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, buddy. Thanks for joining the Telegram. And with that being
Yeah.
said, everybody here listening, go up to the Jumbotron there. You can see I shared the socials for P. So you guys can join our Discord. You can join our Telegram. I'd love if you do that. Help me make my OKRs for the week, so I still have a job. But I'm just kidding, you guys. But I'd love it if you could join up our Discord, join up our Telegram. And with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining today. All of our speakers, everyone that joined up and asked some questions. I loved it. It was a great space today, super informative. And yeah, I'm going to pass it on to some final thoughts. So, Zam, give us a little shout out, man. How can we find you, and how can we find what you're working on?
Yeah, so thank you for having me on the space. It was definitely a great space. I really love open discussions like this about AI and in general the blockchain. So again, thank you for having me on. If you guys want to find out more information about Sentiment AI, you should just check out some of the links in our bio. Pretty much go to our website and then navigate to over from there, or check out our pinned tweet where you can find our website, Twitter, Telegram, chart, and documentation. So that's the best way to find us. And then if you have a chance to play around with our bot, then I'd love to hear any feedback that you have. It's already out and yeah, ready to use. So that's pretty much it from me. Thank you.
Let's go. Happy to have you here, Zam. Absolute great speaker. You crushed it. Great insights. Next, I'm passing it over to Shaq. Give us some final thoughts, buddy.
Hey everyone, yeah, really appreciate y'all having me on. Great to speak with you, Sam, and yeah, I mean, really excited. Enjoyed the discussion. Currently, so I'm as I mentioned, I'm working on as head of growth at Layer N. We're building out sort of an L2 scaling solution. If any of y'all are building DEXs, stable coins, lending protocols, just shoot Telly my way, and we'll definitely start up a conversation. How to find more information on that? I actually have our Twitter page just in my bio, and just click that, and we actually have our docs already up. We have our website up. We're about to actually deploy mainnet in just a couple weeks here, already on testnet. And so if y'all want early dev access, just again, shoot me a telegram, and we'll get that to y'all. Would love for y'all to play around with it. Yeah, and appreciate you having me on, Alex.
Yeah, sweet. It's always a pleasure having you on, Shaq. And with that being said, you guys, join our whitelist so you can try out P.AI. It's on our website in the top there. You just fill out a Google form, and then we'll send you a link to get access. So, you guys, be sure to sign up for that. It's very exciting. We're bringing some innovation to AI and Web3 with this new product. So, I'm excited for all of you guys to try it out. And I'm even more excited for you guys to give me some feedback. We want to get better. And we can't get better without hearing feedback from you. And with that being said, you guys, that's it for our space today. We're doing another one next week, same time. I hope to see you there. And with that being said, ciao for now.